Hello and welcome to another edition of Mailbag. What is Mailbag? Well, Mailbag is a feature of the channel where you guys leave lots of comments on the channel and I attempt to answer those comments, or if I can't answer those comments, I throw it out to you guys who have more knowledge on some of this stuff than I do. So let's get into the first mailbag of this session. Remember, like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Go over to Instagram and follow me there. Go over to Facebook, follow me there. That's where the normal notices are. And consider becoming a Patreon. The next comment or question comes from the Seabone 1979. And this was in response to the Oberheim apology and Anderson's Gets a UBXA rant I did in May 2022. And the Seabone writes, $1,500 to $2,000 is a sweet spot, I agree. This is obtainable territory, even if you're lower on funds. I think most of us are probably dealing with everything costing so much more and discretionary funds being much lower. It doesn't mean the demand is suppressed. So we don't consider digging deeper in our pockets. Now, what I said in that, I think I was talking about the premium the OBX8 makes, and the kind of where did we think the price point for the Behringer UBX8 was actually going to land. And I said I thought it was going to land in that sweet spot. Now, I'm recording this in January 2023, and just before Christmas, Behringer made a statement saying that no synth should cost more than $1,500. So clearly it looks like they are going for that sweet spot as well. Anyway, this is a price point that manufacturers have been targeting for synthesizer instruments at the moment. It's definitely becoming more evident now than it was when I wrote this reply. There could be many reasons why a synth could cost more, but a premium for name shouldn't carry a massive premium not in the market we're currently in. Like you, Seabone, I would consider digging deeper in my pocket if the synth had features that I really, really wanted. And it's all about features and functions, not about name and not about necessarily lineage. But the question I ask myself is, does it, when I look at a synthesizer to buy? Since finalisation of my divorce, the financial implications that have arisen from it, I have to look at each purchase I make on those sort of grounds. Can I justify it? Does it have features and functions I need? Is it going to allow me to be more creative? Is it going to move me forward in terms of what I do? I know I'm going to pronounce this wrong. The next comment or question comes from Axum Essa Records. I do apologise. And it's in response to $65 for shipping. Seriously? A SMR I did in May 2022. And they write, the main US Postal Service isn't really reliable for international shipping. I think I've worked that out. Services like DHL and FedEx have far better infrastructure for overseas shipping, so they can actually track packages once they leave the US. A postal worker once told me that once it gets on the plane, we have no idea where it is. That's actually quite shocking, isn't it? For the US Postal Service to admit that it actually has no idea where something you're sending is. It kind of makes me sort of lament for the Royal Mail, who's at the point of recording this particular response to this comment, their international system is kaput because they were hacked and with ransomware attack. So, you know, I can honestly feel the pain, but at least with Royal Mail, I can actually see where it goes into the foreign system. Not necessarily every single time, I might add, but at least where it goes into the foreign system. Anyway, I do a fair bit of shipping. Going anywhere outside the US generally costs a minimum of $20. But shipping from other countries to the US is usually cheaper. I completely agree. I mean, I can get stuff from Japan shipped here for $20, whereas I'm talking at least $50 or $60 to get stuff from the US. And that's what he just said, actually, funny enough. I said that, and then he said, I can get a CD shipped from Japan to the US for $6, but to ship a CD to the other way costs around $20. Yeah, go work that one out. Anyway, all I can say is thanks for the the interesting insight into the US Postal Service. I'm sure they will love you putting it out there, but it's probably reality. It probably is where it is, and it's probably as a result of things like COVID and the drop in service. In the UK, a disc shipment to the US, including packages, worked out at just under £11. But I think this will change as the post office price at the point of writing this has gone up. It's gone up again, I might add. The eBay shipping system is extremely slow, which is the reason why I don't tend to use the eBay shipping system. The item still goes air freight, but it goes through all kinds of nodes in the country that it travels from and to, and it takes days and days and days. In the recent case of something I bought from the US that used the eBay shipping system, I watched on the shipping on the tracking, and it went. It literally started almost on the East Coast, and it went from the East Coast almost to the West Coast. In fact, it actually did go to the West Coast because it ended up in San Francisco. And then it got on a plane in San Francisco, and then it didn't come to the UK. It went to Germany, and then it went from Germany to somewhere else in Germany, and it went from Germany to the UK, and eventually it got onto the local courier to be delivered. And if you think about that, it's a phenomenal journey, but I suspect the reason why it does that is the least cost route, because it's bundled in with a whole raft of other freight rather than just going somewhere where it might be in a low volume. So it's kind of a high volume freight shipping exercise, I suspect. And the other big problem is tracking. In terms of some shipments just don't get recorded. And in the UK, I would say there's a lot of discord around a company called Every, but they've definitely improved their systems in recent years, but they used to be dreadful. They really did used to be dreadful. But the post office is pretty good in the UK. But as soon as it goes into the foreign or the international side, so you can track it getting on the plane, you can track it getting off the plane, you can track it being clearing customs and being handed to the local courier to do the last leg. And that's where the tracking kind of breaks down sometimes. And you have no control over this, apart from if somebody then were to contact me and say, I haven't got it, I then have to raise a claim on the post office to say, can you verify that it's been delivered? And because the tracking system on the other end is crap, for want of a better word, they can't. So they end up having to refund me, and we then go through the circle again of whatever it happens to be. If it's a disc, for argument's sake, then I have to cut a new disc and send that to the person at the other end. So I do think it is a bit of a shambles, I have to be honest, but thanks for the insight anyway.